Guys, so back to the notoriously bad weekend every year, with the exception when Shang-Chi released. Labor Day weekend is typically a really bad weekend at the box office, which is kind of odd because it's like, a holiday weekend. You would think they would release major movies, but again, Hollywood never wants to break these so-called traditions of break like they literally made that. There was that Beetlejuice movie that's coming out next week. They literally avoided the Labor Day weekend. It was like Labor Day weekend is the weekend they always avoid. So, first movie is Deadpool and Wolverine. It will likely be the last week. It's number one, considering the fact that the Beetlejuice movie is coming out, and apparently that movie is projected to do very very well at the box office. When I worked last time, I worked at the box office. The movie is doing very well internationally. It is actually doing better in China than more Marvel movies are doing, or the Marvel movies are doing as well. So it's doing better in China than most of the last 5 or 6 Marvel movies. This is pretty funny as well. So Deadpool and Wolverine continues to make money internationally, and the highest grossing market is the United Kingdom, then Mexico. We're excluding China because we're talking about China, Australia, and Germany. So outside of China, most of the markets are the usual markets you usually see, with a newcomer, India, which again is a untapped market for massive potential at the box office that Hollywood has not really done, because India is a very hard market to get into. 100%. India is usually dominated by its own movies at its own box office, which as well. And same thing with China. Most of China's highest grossing movies now are domestic Chinese movies. You don't really see many foreign movies doing well in China anymore. It's that was the rare occasion, because I think the reason why American movies did so well in China was because there wasn't really many Chinese movies that did very well at the box office. Now it's the opposite. Well, most people in China mostly want to see Chinese movies as well. Same thing in America. Most people here want to see American-made movies. Though not many foreign movies really do too well in America. Not even Japanese, Chinese, Korean movies, or even European movies. You don't really see many foreign movies do all too well in the United States as well. And you'll probably maybe seeing like some Australian, Canadian, or British movies occasionally do well, but I'm talking about non-English movies, like Spanish movies, or especially Asian movies, like anime movies and stuff. So yeah, America, basically people in the USA still mostly want to see US movies. Number two movie is Alien Romulus. Yeah, for some reason, no, it actually won't. Alien Romulus has actually done very well in China, but the ratings for the movie have been alright. They haven't been the best, but it's doing way better than Alien Covenant. So, that's a win in the book for this franchise. But it is a huge amount of money for a movie series that, typically this is about the numbers you expect for an Alien movie as well. Not as successful, of course, as the older movies, but it has still been a huge success. And of course, most of its international box office mostly still comes from China. But even if it grew the Chinese box office, which is around $33 million, it still would have broken even either way. So this movie needed $200 million to break even, which means this movie definitely made way more than it needed to break even. Next is It Ends With Us. This movie continues to do very well at the box office despite being not a part of a franchise. As well, which is something that we're always going to say about, this movie. That this movie, I know it's based off a book that's very popular on TikTok, but, this movie is very successful. And it's not even yet released in all markets yet. It's not yet released in Korea and Japan. So it'll likely make a few more dollars. It also says released in Denmark. That's talking. Or Hong Kong. These are all major markets as well. So obviously, this movie will probably continue making money throughout the weeks to come. But once September rolls around with its batch of movies coming out. Next is Reagan. Yeah, this movie made $30 million. No one was really expecting this movie to make money, but this movie's a flop. $25 million budget, and no one went to go see this movie. Yes, everybody talked about how great his presidency is, but no one went to go see the movie about Reagan. So, yes. Next is Twisters, which, despite releasing on digital, this movie continues to do at the domestic box, well, at the domestic box office, but again, internationally, no one seems to care. And I think this movie is basically dead internationally, so it won't be making much more money internationally. Most of the money I think coming forward will be domestic sales. So this movie, unfortunately, as much as we Americans like this movie, is 100% a box office failure. Next is Blink Twice. No one went to go see this movie. Moving on. Next is The Fords, which is another movie that no one cares about. So we'll get glossed over very quickly. So like the two people who went to go see the movie can be happy, you know. Next is Despicable Me 4, which this movie is still making money despite how horribly received this movie was. Again, this movie is slowing down internationally. It will not make the $1 billion like a certain YouTube channel said it would. Yes, I said it would make $1 billion, but once I saw the international numbers come in, I threw in the towel on that one and said, yeah, the movie's not gonna make $1 billion, but it's gonna make close to $1 billion as well. So it's a win in the books for this franchise. But this franchise is, I think Despicable Me 4. Oh no, wait, the first two movies did worse than this movie, but it is a downward trend, which is pretty scary for the Minions franchise going forward. Next is Afraid, which it's afraid of box office success. Yes, I had to use that pun because no one went to go see Afraid in the theaters as well. So the movie is about AI, and no one went to go see it. No one cared. 0 people cared about this movie. So yeah, they actually released several movies on Labor Day weekend. It wasn't like it was an assignment weekend, but there's some movies they released no one went to go see. Okay, and we have Inside Out 2. Yes, the typical Pixar and Disney giving the massive summer movie, giving the big summer movie, a boost in theaters every Labor Day. This happens every year, okay? And the movie made $650 million domestically, which is a huge milestone for this movie. Movie like this animated movies never make this amount of money. It's also, it has made the Satan's number. So, yeah. Animated movies never do this well. It's usually live action movies. So this movie is performing better than most live action movies do. So, yeah. Next is The Crow. Who asked for this movie? Who asked for The Crow? Okay, no one likes this movie. No one likes this movie. And it dropped very similar to Borderlands. So there was no interest in this movie at all. So the last movie is another flop from Lionsgate, 1992. So it seems that Lionsgate seems to have all sorts of failures this year. Okay, with The Crow, Borderlands, and 1992. It seems that no one seems to care about Lionsgate's movies anymore. Finally, people have woken up to the truth about Lionsgate and how terrible they are. But yeah, that's about this video here, and goodbye.